The world may have ended, but Junkyard Joust continues. Baby Humongous Cookie rules over the joust with an iron fist. If you want fuel, she's got it, but you have to win. And to win the Junkyard Joust, you have to survive it.
Assassins, Marauders, Hooligans, Scarecrows, and Bashers. We've got quite the matchup for you today. The Apocalypse Joust Q4. Hi everybody, I'm Aaron Yonda. Let's take a closer look at these teams. First up, it's the Blood Bashers. They do have some Bashers in there. Also a couple vehicles with agility, Land Crusher and Dune Crusher. Got gas indeed. It's the Highway Hooligans, and they are equipped to take the other vehicles down. Look at all those weapons. Mile High Marauders also equipped with a lot of stuff, and they've got some weight and power on their side. The Scrap Iron Scarecrows are equipped with good undercutting on the front and some defensive work on the back. The A-Team Assassins also have some good undercutting and a bruiser with that bus. The Stake Truck is in place, sponsored by Track Buffer LLC, and we're ready to get things rolling.
What? Okay. Then I support that action.
Off we go into the wild apocalyptic yonder. Round 1, Blood Brothers 2 for the Blood Bashers, sponsored by DYW Production Labs, and not quite making it down to the end of the track. They're getting stuck on the edge. Generally, the Crushers are pretty good at surviving this kind of situation. BBC will hit the track next for the Scrap Iron Scarecrow, sponsored by Emo Dingo. BBC slips right underneath Blood Brothers 2, and Blood Brothers 2 goes right back to the same position. Very strange, and just kind of lines up right behind BBC. First up for the Highway Hooligans, the Shovener, sponsored by J Zeus. The Shovener hits the pile and flops around a little bit. Looks like it's gonna be okay, but then it bobbles off the edge of the track sideways. Blood Brothers 2 makes it out all right, and the big shovel on the back of BBC does the trick. Cloak and Dagger up now for Mile High Marauders, sponsored by Sicken. Cloak and Dagger bounces off BBC, and BBC forced sideways by the impact. Cloak and Dagger going curbside, staying alive for now. First up for the A-Team Assassins, the Wagonator, sponsored by Hendrika's Heavy Hauling. The Wagonator clears the track and does BBC a huge favor. The Wagonator having enough force to push BBC up and over to right side up. That'll be a survive. Not so good for Cloak and Dagger, who is now sideways. There appears to be a rogue tire up at the front of the track. I think that might have been from the previous Apocalypse Joust. Next up for Blood Bashers, Bloodwater, sponsored by Reaper EOD. Bloodwater smacks the Wagonator up front into the safety area. A little top heavy there, can't quite keep itself from going sideways. If it stays like that, it's gonna be out. Scrap Iron Scarecrow sending down Nova Blast, sponsored by Chicken Rings Onion Wings. Nova Blast gets under Bloodwater, pops it up in the air, but Bloodwater keeps it level. Nice undercut by Nova Blast, and now we'll see if the protection on the back of that gasser works. Wet Willie's going down next for the Hooligans, sponsored by Stump's Tree Farm. Wet Willie smacks into Nova Blast. Nova Blast keeps it alive for the moment, goes curbside, looks like it could topple, and Wet Willie's is sideways. Phaeton coming down for the Marauders, sponsored by Miskatonic Automotive Club. 138 grams of Phaeton clears the track, and both cars are tossed. Nova Blast upended, thrown into the crates, and gets hung up on top of the stake truck, and Wet Willie's is hovering right between what looks like the 45-degree angle. One of the lighter cars in this competition, Ripper for the A-Team Assassins, sponsored by Judy Collins. The 29 grams of Ripper not able to get underneath Phaeton, but in a way that should work out, considering that there is a bit of a ramp on the back of that thing. Red and Blue for the Blood Bashers, sponsored by Chicken Rings Onion Wings. Red and Blue does indeed go off the back of that ramp, goes all the way up into the wall, and gets snagged by all the cars that are over there. There's a pile building, and it is stuck sideways. Vision up next for the Scarecrow, sponsored by Brendan Walsh. Fission able to stop itself from going off of Ripper's ramp using that conveyor belt. Looks like it might have been a grain conveyor belt. Fission ends up curbside. Axe to Grind up next for the Highway Hooligans, sponsored by Sloth's Automotive Sachet and Buffet. Chunks fly as Axe to Grind tries to take Fission out. Fission not having it, goes all the way over by that dead tree and makes a brilliant recovery. Up next, weighing in at 200 grams, Backslider for the Marauders, sponsored by Chicken Rings Onion Wings. Despite the low front, Backslider not able to get underneath Ripper. However, it does clip the spoiler and push Ripper a little ways off the track. Backslider goes veering off to the right, and all the cars involved with that hit end up okay. Here comes Spike's Peak for the A-Team Assassins, sponsored by Farty Marty. Spike's Peak pretty much removes Backslider from the track. Backslider still right side up and good to go. Spike's Peak has a little protective bar on the back. We'll see if that works. Slambulance for the Bashers, sponsored by Chicken Rings Onion Wings. Slambulance slams Spike's Peak. Try saying that 3 times fast. No damage on the hit, but Slambulance is angling left a little bit. Could be precarious. Sarge for the Scrap Iron Scarecrow, sponsored by Sean's Toy Room. Sarge cannot get under Slambulance, but it does indeed tip over to the left. Still on the track though, so anything can happen. 154 gram Refinery Rocket. Look at the undercutter on this thing, sponsored by Jedi. A massive impact from the Refinery Rocket, and we've got at least 2 cars out. Unfortunately, one of them is Refinery Rocket. Sarge is on the cusp of elimination, but that looks about right side up to me. I guess we'll see. Slambulance upside down. Shadow Jet 2 for the Marauders, sponsored by Chome. Shadow Jet slides into place behind Spike's Peak, and Spike's Peak once again protected from any potential undercutting from Shadow Jet. Scorned for the Assassin, sponsored by Hey Hey's Hatchback Hanger. Ooh, despite all that protection on the back of Shadow Jet, Scorned is able to penetrate and get underneath. A nice little shunt and up and over for Shadow Jet, but not out yet. 5 cars left in the round. Blood Brothers 1 for the Basher, sponsored by Sid from Cybertron. A decent impact from Blood Brothers 1, but can't get anywhere. In fact, just succeeds in riding Shadow Jet. Rigrolled for the Scarecrow, sponsored by Mark the Music Lover. Rigroll gets underneath Blood Brothers. Blood Brothers does a nice pirouette to a recovery. Sitting on top of the heap, staring back down the track. Slamson for the Hooligan, sponsored by Chorgoth the Infinite Horror. Slamson hits the line, doesn't succeed in doing any damage. Actually looks a little iffy for Slamson itself, but then it manages to make a recovery backwards curbside. And here is a Turtle Shell for the Marauders, sponsored by Jason's Bits Boys. Turtle Shell headbutts Slamson and pushes it off the track, but Slamson's still right side up. Blood Brothers backing down a little bit. Final car of the round, Alex is on fire, sponsored by Sean and Patrick Hogan. 178 gram impact, and wow, does it show. Cars thrown everywhere. Shadow Jet gets turned over upside down and out. Blood Brothers 1 looks like it might be in iffy territory. We've got 10 for sure eliminations in the round, and we're gonna have to take measurements on a couple. All in all, some serious devastation in round 1. Blood Brothers 1 not gonna make it out of the round. That is beyond 45 degrees. And Wet Willie's also beyond 45 degrees. That's going to take our total to 12. There they are. Let's take a look at the aftermath. Mile High Marauders, Highway Hooligans, and Blood Bashers all lost 3 cars apiece. Scrap Iron Scarecrows lost 2, and the A-Team Assassins came out looking pretty good with only 1 loss. We're thundering straight into round 2, starting off with Ripper for the A-Team Assassins. A light car, but it was pretty effective last round. Ripper slips right underneath the track buffer and takes position up at the front. Here comes Fission with that conveyor belt. Looks like the conveyor belt might have got hung up on the track on the way down. So a pretty ineffective hit. Looks like it could have gone underneath that little ramp on the back of Ripper. Floodwater finishes the job, and Ripper goes over, teeters, and gets kind of wedged. And now Fission is curbside. That was an effective way to counter that ramp. Axe to Grind for the Hooligans clears the track. Fission goes over, and Bloodwater does a nice twist and keeps it level. Turtle Shell smashes into Axe to Grind. Axe to Grind does a little flipping and turning. Seems like the thing on the back of the car actually helped it do all that twisting and land it. Turtle Shell almost escapes the track, but can't quite get off. Scorn takes a shot at Turtle Shell, but can't get anything to happen. Actually almost causes Fission to go back upright. Ooh, I don't know what happened there. Looks like Sarge might have put on the brakes or something. Maybe got snagged on something. Just gives Scorn the gentlest of taps. And Blood Brothers 1 makes Sarge pay for that slow hit, pushing Sarge up and sideways. Still on the track though, so there's definitely a chance of recovery here. Slams and mixes it up down at the end of the track. Scorned manages to just about escape. Blood Brothers back end pushed up in the air. We'll see how that settles out after the next hit. Provided by Backslider, and it is a big hit, clearing the track and setting up that ramp. Slamson takes the brunt of it and gets tossed sideways. Blood Brothers makes a nice recovery. Spike's Peak tries to get underneath the ramp of Backslider and cannot do it. Slides off and gradually tips over right next to its teammate. That could be it for Spike's Peak. Ooh, somehow BBC manages to not go off the jump. Oh, it's that low piece of metal sticking out from underneath the car, manages to prevent the jump. Backslider actually a little bit curbside now. We'll see how this pans out though. There's a big hit coming down. Alex is on fire, terrorizes BBC, tossing it high up into the air. We don't have our height tower out there yet. That will be next episode. But BBC attaining some serious height right there. Unfortunately, Alex is on fire, tips over sideways, goes off of Backslider, self-eliminates, and BBC also out. Unbelievable carnage in this round. There were 13 cars left in the match. 9 of them have been eliminated. And we are going to lose our first team in this match. Once we get down to 2 teams, the match will be over. Taking a look at the aftermath, look at all those cars disappear. We're going to have to say goodbye to Scrap Iron Scarecrows. They did a great job, but man, there was just so much devastation in that round. Every other team down to 1 vehicle. Here we go, round 3. Now when any car gets eliminated, it's over for their team. Bloodwater for the Blood Bashers. Last remaining car for them goes curbside right off the start. This could be bad or good, depending. A light vehicle like Bloodwater might have better luck recovering out in the open like this. Axe 2 Grind takes a shot at Bloodwater, pushes it all the way up to the front and goes curbside itself. Axe 2 Grind, the last vehicle for Highway Hooligans. Backslider clears the track and sets up that ramp. Both cars it hits somehow manage to recover. X2 Grind does a little pivoting and survives, and look at that recovery by Bloodwater. Just a slow turn over. Wow, that was close. Ooh, a nice hit by Scorned, and Scorn actually almost gets under Backslider, does not take the ramp. That is a good sign for that car being able to do that. No eliminations on the round. None of these teams want to lose right here. So we are going to increase the speeds and try to get some eliminations. Axe to Grind will start us off for the Highway Hooligans. The randomized running order is up. Next up will be Backslider for the Mile High Marauders. X to Grind tossed high into the air. Man, we really need that height meter out there. Look at all the twisting that X to Grind manages to do. This car is absolutely incredible after a toss like that, just recovering flawlessly. Wow. Scorn coming down for the A-Team Assassins does the same thing as last round, manages to lock it in. Now there's another car coming down. Ooh, Bloodwater's done it before and does it again. Tosses Scorn off that jump, whether Scorn wanted it or not, and flips the car over. Cannot successfully make a recovery, and we are going to lose a team in this round. Scorned is out, and so are the A-Team Assassins. Victims of the sheer carnage in this match, we are down to just the Marauders, Hooligans, and Blood Bashers. Round 5, here we go. The increased speeds will stay. Backslider starting us off. Backslider plows itself into position, got that ramp up. Now that Scorned is gone, I don't think any of these cars can really do much about that ramp. Only thing that's going to eliminate Backslider is itself. Bloodwater heaves itself up on the ramp, and ooh, that's a rough position to be in right there. If it stays like that, which is unlikely, that's going to be out. Bloodwater, lucky it wasn't the last vehicle of the round. Axe to Grind takes a shot, kicks Bloodwater over into the wall, and then hits the wall itself and gets wedged on the track buffer. Wow, I can't tell if either of these cars is still in the match. Only thing we know right now for sure is Backslider is in and the Marauders are moving on, and we're gonna have to take measurements on both of the remaining vehicles. Bloodwater looks like exactly at the 45-degree angle, and that's gonna be a survive. X to Grind just barely beyond the 45-degree angle. Wow, that was so close. A tragic elimination there for the Hooligans, but the good news is the Hooligans still have a chance in that wild card match. They got 11 points here. Bloodbashers and the Marauders are moving on. Congrats to them. They're going to get all the gas they can carry. Luckily, there's nowhere to drive at the moment. They just got to sit around and wait for the remaining 3 qualifiers to be finished and the wild card. We've got 8 teams who've qualified so far. And since there are just 3 qualifiers left, Zone Zero and Fractal Panda guaranteed to be in the wild card and have a shot at getting to the semifinals. Highway Hooligans and Hoolapocalypse definitely still have a chance. The vault is closed on this match. Baby Humongous Cookie is gonna send us off.
All right, well, this has been fun, but I gotta go. I got a lot of nothing to do at home laughing.